Okay, recording has started, and I'm going to turn this around so that you guys can see Sue as well. Hello, Sue. We have like 60 seconds. Oh no, just kidding. That takes 2 minutes. My watch says 50 seconds.
At the end of the day with rest time. Do you get them up now?
No, is the answer.
Like it normally we do at 2:20. This would be my, it's like now it's 2:18. Wait. Yeah. Thank goodness everybody's okay with us playing it by what we feel. I still have everybody but one goes to sleep within 5 minutes.
Really? That's crazy.
And they snore.
Well, I will say, like, my older two, they both napped well, like almost all the way until they started kindergarten.
Mhm.
And my youngest was just like, sleep is for suckers.
And that's the way last year's class was. We quit in February.
Mhm.
This year's class, it's like they're out. It's the free choice playtime, so they'd rather lay down and sleep.
Are we there? Yeah. All right. I'm going to call us to order. It is 6 o'clock. All right. We do have a citizen. Price. I would state your name and your address. And I'm going to set a timer for 3 minutes because that is the amount of time you have to speak.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Yeah, but my name is Bryce Rosen. I live at 2711 Mountview, and I just wanted to commend the library board and for the programs that it provides for the people in town. A friend of mine at the sustainability board first wanted me to compliment the sewing program that they have here, and she wanted me to say, hey, how about some more of those because they fill up really fast. So that's that one. But I'm here because my son comes on the last Tuesday of every month to the Dungeons and Dragons program, and that has been growing. More and more kids are coming, and the worst thing about it is that it only lasts an hour, and the kids have such a good time. The person that you have running it is really great, and whenever he comes out of Dungeons and Dragons, he's basically skipping and having and just has a giant smile on his face. So all I wanted to do is I saw that the meeting was tonight. I want to come and tell the library board that the Dungeons and Dragons event that you have for the kids is fantastic, and thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
That's all I really had to say about that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Do you need this? I don't know. Okay. Do you take these?
Just put it with the minutes.
Perfect. We can. We'll do that. All right. Then thank you so much. All right. We'll move on to our agenda items. The first one is consider approval of the minutes for March 6th, 2025 and take appropriate action.
Make a motion that we approve the minutes presented.
Okay.
I second.
Three motions. Stacy seconds. All in favor? Aye. All right. Approved unanimously. All right. Next is our trustee reports.
The first item is actually about the public schools a little bit more, but it could impact the library services. So I thought I'd bring it up. I don't know the status of the bill right now because things are in a rush at the legislature, but it was all the materials that are selected for school libraries now need to go through a local advisory board and be approved by the Board of Trustees, as opposed to being pretty much, it's been pretty much in the hands of librarians to propose the materials. There's a 30-day time that the materials have to be up for public review, and the board has to see them. The review committee has to be consisted of community members with a majority of parents. It's now, it's still under consideration. A couple of things that you can look at the bill as it was proposed at that link, but a couple of things that were in the text of the bill that I didn't elaborate on in the that it does, the rules do not apply to text press and some of the services that the public school libraries use. There are some safeguards in there to keep a single agenda person from blocking materials. The two areas of concern were profanity and sex acts. And of course, there's a lot of variance between preschool materials and high school materials. But those seem to be in the bill. I think my interest was it may drive business to the public libraries for access for materials that might be blocked that are necessary for AP classes, some of the advanced classes that are difficult to censor the materials because they're at a college level. So that's why I included it, because I think it will drive some activity to the public libraries.
We questioned it. It sounds like it's almost like how they have to do the textbook reviews.
Yeah, but it's at a local level.
Okay.
Yeah, it's as much, well, then that's at a local level too.
Yeah, but I don't know, do the textbook reviews go to parents? They didn't used to. It used to just be like
Yeah,
teachers and staff.
when I was at the office and was over all the literacy programs, anytime there was a new adoption, there was a citizen community.
They'd have an open house and they could come in.
Yeah, and you could come and review all the materials and then the board did have to approve those. So it's, but when I think about the number of books when I was principal at Emmett Smith that we bought every year, that's going to be a daunting list that comes out to the community. And so it just was interesting because again, if it goes into effect, I do think it will drive some, because in traditional early American literature, there's sex and profanity, but those kids have to read those for IP courses and stuff.
Right,
So,
right.
Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out and how it impacts the public libraries. I follow that little DTEC International because it's an international site, and they're just in a lot of my reports, there continues to be this increased demand for library access 24/7. And so they had their last big website article was about the lockers, and they had them in real interesting places in the UK. They had them in sheltered areas in parks. They had them in public buildings where in the stairwells.
Like under the
office buildings.
stairs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
under
Oh,
the stairs,
interesting.
So they were protected and stuff like
Mhm.
that. There was a little bit of security. But they were being real creative in the UK about where they put those. But as I recall, we looked at those and they're extremely expensive.
They vary in price from
Yeah.
tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on what you
But I know
want
they
them
were
to do.
real, they had a whole section on the locker thing. And
Okay.
I know we pursued that a little bit looking at the West access.
Yes,
So
yeah.
that
Mhm.
they could check books in and out of the locker system over there, if we could find a place to put it. And the land's all kind of controlled by that. It's already purchased and you
Mhm.
have to find a
Divvied up.
business or something that would let you do that.
Mhm.
I did follow up with the last report I did on the Grapevine mobile, not really bookmobile, but it's their outreach vehicle.
Mhm.
And they have a pretty elaborate fleet of vehicles. They had a city grant for it. They have a grant from the city that's called Quality of Life Grant. And that's how they originally funded it. But they went big. She said,
Winnebago.
if you ever do this, don't go Winnebago first. Because they said it's cumbersome and it's hard to fill
Mhm.
with enough materials. And so they actually use it a lot of times. You know, Grapevine has a lot of festivals and they use it, they put their makerspace stuff in it and use it for crafts and things at festivals.
That's
In
cool.
addition to the books that they make available to the community. And it does become a part of the city fleet and is maintained by the city. She's going to send me some information. I haven't gotten information from any of the people I reached out to. And I think I realized that her stuff was going into my spam. And so that's probably on me. But they had a company that specializes in renovating vehicles into library.
That's really cool.
into either book. And she's going to send me the name of the company. And
So you could retrofit a vehicle that's aging out of the city fleet anyway.
Right, and that's
Interesting.
what they do is they retrofit them for the library use.
That's cool.
access. So I'll have that the next time. I'll check my spam. And then they bought some smaller vehicles. They ain't really into the mobility thing. They have some SUV sized vehicles for smaller events. And they used the same company does the exterior wrap, real elaborate
Mhm.
wrap that makes them like, she said they're all, including the Winnebago, are out like billboards for the library. And they have some of the moving stuff so they could put events that are coming up and stuff like that on it. So they have, and then in certain nonprofit organizations, they have some carts that can be secured that they make available for lower income families or seniors that stay there, and then the library comes and
Oh, like
replenishes. They can check things in and out, and then they will come and replenish it every now and then. And they
interesting.
target their lower income areas, and they work through nonprofits to do that. Like Metro Crest
Or
or
something like that. Interesting.
Do we do any outreach with the senior center, like setting up a collection over there for them to actually access books, any kind of materials there?
I believe they had their own library at one point. I don't know if they still do, but at one point they did have their own, so they weren't really interested.
Okay,
And I think that's something
be kind of,
think about. And it might draw people then to want to come to the bigger library.
yeah, I'm just wondering if there might be, maybe ability to keep a collection there,
Mhm.
because it'd be for seniors. I mean, I don't know if the public could access or not, the rest of it, but I mean, if it was something we had in the lobby or something at TVC that just it'd probably be better there than like the rec. I just
Yeah.
think because it's, easier to get in and out of that, but that might be something once we get open back over there, that might be,
And I don't know, she was going to send me a little more description about what the carts were like,
Mhm.
because they had to be able to be secured at
Right.
some point. But they use that again to target underserved. And then she said to call Plano and Mansfield, and I've reached out to them. They have more. She said sharp van size. You should start with a better size if you ever get them over here. She said it's just a little overwhelming. She said there are nice features to it, but it's big. And so they have van size programs that are more on demand, like you can book it for your schools, read for your, senior center, the rec center, whatever they have going on. Churches can book it, any community organization. So that was just a little follow-up, and I'll have more. I know it's an iffy time with some of the grant money kind of drying up
Yeah.
for a lot of things, and that was, can I do a late breaking that I didn't have before?
Yeah.
The other thing that I read about was the lack of funding for the Institute of Museums and Library Services is going to impact, it's already impacting a lot of libraries. And and I don't know how dependent we are on that funding, but the hoopla was one of the things that people were dropping because they said it's more expensive than Libby per checkout. And so like Sacramento, a whole bunch of libraries are discontinuing that. And I know that's really popular, a really popular service. So it'll be interesting to see how the federal funding issues trickle down to public libraries.
That is something we are watching very closely and
Right. But
Keeping an eye
that
on.
was that happened after I submitted the report.
Heather, is our checkout system something that you could use like on a laptop or something? Like if we set up something at the branch connection that they could then self, like, cause I know like our school library, we can bring it up on a laptop and, you can check out in the classroom versus being in the library and that kind of stuff, but
I think there are some security
Okay.
protocols that would have to be followed, but I do believe there's a possibility for
Okay.
that.
I thought if we do that, it would be, they could probably still, they could self check out.
That would have to be.
Well, the facility I was at, they just maintained the collection.
Okay,
So they went to they surveyed the seniors, what do you guys want to have? And they would just kind of keep those books there. I guess they would check them out. So they would be
like check. out
basically
some-
checked
yeah,
out, but then they'd
yeah,
be
okay.
access for, and I think the staff also did something to check them out too. I don't know. We'd have to come up with a protocol for all that, but
I'm sure that's something we would talk with Sue
Yeah,
about
we
and
would.
see if we have something similar set up somewhere
because
else.
there'd be
Yeah.
staff time to maintain the collection. and all
Right.
that. But I think if they're amenable to it, I think
Yeah.
that might be something worth checking out. So,
Another partnership.
yeah, and now the only bad thing is that, TBC is not on the west side.
Yeah.
We do have a park location we're looking at. We have a new park, Mercer Park's gonna be on the west side, so it'd be a location we could put maybe a mobile locker or something like that at some point, because it'd be our city property.
Mhm.
I just get worried about a park location because of the security of it and things like that. So the park is still, we only got our initial phase done, so we've still got some work left to do, but that might be something to look at in the future, so.
Okay. That's my story.
Yeah, did you have anything else you wanted to add? Is that something?
About the events committee,
Oh. Do we need to bring that up?
I don't know if we wanted to, Lisa.
I didn't know where that would fit.
No. As part of your trustee report.
Okay. The city's formed a event advisory committee. It's not like a board, it's less formal than that. And they meet every month to bring ideas to city events and about city events, to critique city events. And they wanted board members to represent, and Stacy and I are on that committee. And we met one time and they reviewed the multicultural global. And I didn't get to go to that, so I didn't get to contribute much to the review. But I think, one of us will probably be there every time. It's usually the first
Thursday.
Thursday of the month. And one of the things I'm gonna do is just in my own little neighborhood, do a little door, a little flyer that I'm introducing myself. I know most, but there's a lot of young families that have moved into my neighborhood and there's some like real fitness people that don't have children, and just see what things would you like to see offered. They could either text me or they can drop it back. I'll have a little survey and do that in a couple of blocks of mine. They want us to kind of talk to our community constituents and bring back ideas. So if y'all have ideas, Stacy and I could represent you. Ideas about events that would enhance the experience in the city. Or
And we
critique some
shared
of it.
that, because they talked about the fact that when the Christmas tree lighting had to get canceled and they had all the vendors and they brought them over here and merged some of the stuff and they were really excited about it, but we did share that, yeah, but some of our patrons had different reviews on it for us, so that they were, they were a little surprised to have it become commercialized. I think they were worried, so. At least that was, because, they wouldn't have gotten our feedback from our patrons.
Right, well, yeah.
And it made
Good luck with
sense
that.
because you have the people already booked and they needed someplace to go. but-
Yeah. Alright, anything else? All right, then let's go to the next thing, receive patron feedback. There are
Speaking of that,
2 comments. When I read this earlier, I did not see that the first one had a rating of 0. I just read the words because there were a lot of them.
Heather, did this person respond back to your response?
They did not.
Were you able, did you talk to the staff at all to see if they even knew what this person was
Yes, I did.
talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
There was someone who talked to staff. Again, everything appeared for staff to be within a reasonable level, but that does not mean for that particular person it is a reasonable level.
Right.
We have to do our best to balance that.
I'm trying to think, it's been a minute since I've been downstairs. There's no computer, like public access computers downstairs in the quiet areas.
Correct.
But would the Wi-Fi work, like if somebody brought their laptop? with them?
Yes.
Okay. I'm assuming it would, but
Yes.
you never know.
It is a lot quieter downstairs. I will agree with that. Okay. Any other comments or questions on any of these? All right. Then let's move on to Heather's director's report.
My turn.
Mhm.
So in March, we had spring break. That was the month of March. Our big event was Kathy's Critters. I'm not sure if any of you were able to attend, but 486 people, almost 500 people at one event was
That's
quite a bit. So we're very thankful to have the park right outside and give us some space for everyone to come. A new program we hosted, that was Dustin's idea. We found a vendor that does cooking classes based off of children's books.
That's cool.
So he came and did a class on teaching children pre-cooked meat. He did not cook here, I believe. How to make tacos and season them and everything. And then he related it to the book Dragons Love Taco. It was a fully booked class. There
Did
was
you
a
have to
waiting list.
register in advance?
You did, yes, that was a registration requirement. Oh.
Vegan tacos too.
He made vegan tacos? They were vegan. Oh, that's cool.
So it was a very good month for programming. Some additional things we had going on or that have started in March. We have launched new exploratory kits in our children's department. They are kits for people to take home. They'll come in a backpack. And it might be 3 or 4 books along with learning activities, hands-on activities. Some of them might be, I'm not sure if we have the telescope out yet. One of them will be a telescope. There's a potty training kit that comes with toys and tips on potty training. I think there's about 15 of them available right now, and that will be growing. We have some ready that we're still processing, but they are available for checkout now. And they have been going out very well.
As soon as they come back on the shelf, somebody checks them out again. So it's been great to see them going in and out so frequently.
Oh, that's good. My kids participated in the Mario Kart tournament and they really enjoyed that.
That is
And
new.
would like to do more things like that.
We just got some gaming equipment to host programs for gaming with the teens and older kids. So that seems to be going well.
How did the bilingual story time go? Was that well attended?
It was. I'm trying to remember. I don't remember off the top of my head how many people came, but it was well attended. And we will be, once we get through elections, we will put that on a regular schedule.
That's exciting.
Gave it
I'm
kind
glad
of a
we're
soft
doing
launch.
that.
Let's see. Also, we still have our tissues to go to the schools from our team leaders drive. So if I can get 3 people before they leave tonight to gather those to be delivered to the schools, they are ready to go. Let's see. We are also starting a teen science cafe. So that is a teen-led science program, but they will be doing hands-on activities. Some of the events will have speakers that come in and teach STEM just for teens. And the teens will get the chance to decide what they're going to be learning and doing. And that's led by Taylor, our team librarian, and Rachel, our STEM library associate.
I'm so glad we've gotten involved teams because that's really important.
Mhm.
It is. In April, we will be closed 2 days. We will be closed Good Friday and Easter. So those announcements will be going out.
Elections again.
Yes, we do have elections. They start on the 22nd. I believe election day is, I have through May 4th because we'll still have the material, but I believe election day is the 3rd.
That tea workshop sounds interesting.
That was very well attended.
Was it? Oh,
Yeah.
it's this Friday, April 4th. Was that already happened? Good grief.
That was this past Friday. And it was very well
Was it?
attended. Yes.
Okay. It would have been fun to go to.
Can you look up stories, Facebook stories? Can you still see them? We've got approval from Stacy in Communications that during events we can post some, this is what's going on and post stories so that people can see live what events are going on,
Oh, that's
what we're
cool.
doing at events.
That's really cool.
And I believe that is the end of my director's report. Any questions, thoughts?
Was that Moroccan tea? Well, did you?
Yes, that was a full house.
Okay. That was brought up in.
Oh,
we
yeah.
had that, just that we try to represent all the, and they,
And I think some
They were
people
not
had
aware.
attended it too.
that you were doing that. And so that was all.
That's wonderful. I'll let Clarissa know.
Yeah, things like that are cool. Just sort of things you're like, man, I wish I could go to that. I have 8 other things I need to be, places I need to be. All right. Agenda items. Does anyone have any more questions for Heather or comments about the report or anything else? The events and things that you have done while you've been here and added has been really amazing. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
It's been beyond the basic story time and summer reading. There've been some really cool things that have happened. So I appreciate you guys doing those things.
Thank you. The staff is amazing.
All right. Future items. Anybody have anything for future meetings for next month?
Does our little event thing need to be regular or just part of my?
Could probably put it in your trustee report, or it could be dinner conversation.
There's,
not really an
some of the boards do like a, park board and senior advisory do a section where they give the board an opportunity to talk about things they've done in the community. We can maybe add that to this, and that kind of opens it even up. So that's an opportunity to talk about the subcommittee, or even just you guys attended another event, when you talk, I went to
I went to this event
Book
by that
fair.
thing.
Right, or I went to the Richardson Library and saw
Exactly.
X, Y, and Z.
so we can add that maybe as the next one.
Like a community.
Yeah, it's real generic, but it's kind of like, it's an opportunity for board members to talk about events and things that they've been to, they can comment on. We can also do a separate section for subcommittees as well. We do that on some of the other boards too, so, but since this is really the only one right now, maybe
Yeah.
just do it as part of that. I think that'll work good. The wording, is, if you look at park board and see, you'll see that wording on there, how we. So It's like, you usually do it right before the future agenda item thing.
So that would be good, because it's more than just like Lee and I that are on that little subcommittee, more people can share.
Exactly, for whatever else, it kind of opens it up for whatever else you guys want to.
Yeah,
It's kinda
something you
open-ended
saw in
a little
another
bit.
library, or you attended this city event, and here's a way we could have
Exactly.
engaged in that event or whatever.
And I think the reason we do it before a future agenda, because
It
if
can
you see
vary.
something and you're like, hey, I'd like to talk about that at our next meeting further. it
Yeah,
kind of spurs
It kind of
discussion.
rolls into that. No, that makes sense. That's very cool. Thank you for clearing that. Anything else?
Could we talk a bit more about advertising library events, services, and so on? We talked about putting up a sort of comment board where we try to get input from citizens.
Yes.
For example, send out information to schools for events that might be of interest to the students, or the parents.
They do some of that depending.
Am I allowed to address that? I don't remember. We currently the school uses Peach Jar,
Peach jar.
and we do use that. So we do send out monthly flyers to all of the Carrollton Farmers Franchise students.
Well,
It's just
and then
digital
the
now.
thing that I think gets forgotten in the city a lot is there is a small section of the city in which I live that is part of DISD. And so I think we forget to reach out to that school as well. It's literally one elementary school. And I think there's one part of Farmers Branch that is zoned to DISD, and it's Chapel Hill, which is just next to Templeton Trails Park. And then I think there might be some kids who are further on the east that might even be zoned to the Bush Elementary also. So just to be aware when you're reaching out to the school districts that there are kids that live in Farmers Branch that don't go to CFB schools. I think that gets forgotten a lot. And I know that it does because I had a CFB person come to my door and ask me to vote for them for school board trustee. And I was like, I don't live in your district. You need to know where your district lines are. So
That's a whole different thing.
that's a whole different thing. Anyway, so just remembering that there's part of the city that's in DIC.
And that
make
was
sure we
something
cover
that
those
the,
schools.
Other committee was that they want to try to do some, like after big events, like how we can get surveys out to the public to see what they thought of it. And
They, cognitive bias, they
Yeah.
know that the event happened,
And some
Oh,
of
yeah.
it they wanted to do, like people are exiting, but then at the same time, it was like, can we maybe put like QR codes up at other places within the city
Mhm.
that like this is coming on, click on it and find more information kind of thing to like kind of cross advertise.
That's a future agenda item.
Mhm. Anything else?
the very said they may.
May 8th is that next date. And then if we want to go ahead and get June on everyone's radar, then that's probably a good idea. Yeah, so May 8th, and so then the day that it should be in June is June 12th. Does this date work for everyone? As far as you know right now, based on your current line?
And typically there is no July meeting.
Yes.
It gets us 3 months out.
One thing we forgot to talk about was Mr. Sherman out.
Oh, they,
That's not
That's
really-
only you two.
That'll be all.
It's just you two. Oh, good.
It's not really.
What was the June date?
the 12th. Mhm. Yep. 6 o'clock. All right.
Okay.
Anything else? Not, if I have a motion to adjourn. All right. Zach motions. And Lee seconds. All in favor? Aye. It passes unanimously. We are adjourned at 6:32. It was. We have a lot to say. We're very efficient people today. And we got high praise from a person. See that? Wins all around.
Okay, we are adjourned.
Heather, I'll be at Farmers Branch Elementary on the 24th for their pre-K registration because they're moving all the pre-K, Blair pre-K school pre-Ks to Farmers Branch. And I'm still at Blair, so I can help with issues to both